Yes, thank you, Haley, and thank you, Councilmember Cal. It's good to see you again and see all my friends again. And just to chime on what he says, so goes California, so goes the country. And I think in recent years, especially under the Brown administration, that has been really the case. I was elected in 2020 at the age of 23. And being a 1997 baby, I'm a part of Generation Z. And I like to say that Generation Z is the generation that gets nothing but bad news. We got student loans, we got climate crisis, we're going to hit another recession again. So it seems like every time I turn around, my generation gets faced with something new, which is why this issue is so important to me. I moved out of my mom's place a while back, and I live relatively close to one of our Safeway gas stations. And it was right when the whole conflict in Ukraine began that I one day was just looking out the window and I saw the gas prices rising. It was probably about 11 o'clock at night. And coincidentally, moments later, this commercial came on TV talking about energy independence. And that just made me think, I was like, are we really independent when we know we have this inelastic commodity of oil that we rely so heavily on? And it made me frustrated to know that there are people out there who are trying to do the work, all the work that they can to make sure that we stay back and don't move forward with renewable energy and new opportunities for a greener tomorrow. Listen, we all know that the past 2 years, people have been feeling the pain in their wallets. They've been feeling the pain at home, the mental stress. And this is just one more obstacle that people are facing. And we all know this is another thing too. We've been paying more for gas, and these companies have been giving less out, making record profits. You can't tell me these past couple of months haven't been Christmas for them. And obviously they're not trying to share what they've been giving because gas prices just continue to rise, right? This means that we have to do more to make sure that we combat that and at the same time put ourselves in a new platform. But the problem is here at the local level, jurisdictions can sometimes struggle based on the will of their own body. Here in Hercules, we were able to pass our electrification ordinance, meaning that any new development has to be 100% electric. The challenge that I faced when I introduced that was the entire way I faced opposition from 2 council members. So out of the 5 of us, only 3 of us supported the idea from start to finish. And we know that every single community is different, which is why we need the state to step in and do a little bit more. And I'm more of an optimistic person. I know that I said that my generation gets a lot of bad news, but you kind of got to be the change that you want to see, right? And so I believe this. This is an opportunity for California to reinvent itself, where we have a combination between labor groups and other work groups from around the state come together and help out some communities that have been really impacted by oil drilling, the refineries that are in their area that have polluted their neighborhoods for years and decades, and say, hey, we want to do something better. We don't typically highlight some of the counties like Fresno County, Madera County. I'm gonna even throw San Luis Obispo County in there that much. Here in the Bay Area, we take up a lot of conversations, and more of those flyover counties that you hear about, that you don't hear about, actually need to be included in this. And this is an opportunity for us to revamp our economy. Come on, it's not like we're lacking wind. It's not like we're lacking people who can jump into this workforce to help us get where we need to be, which is why I'm saying we need to be urgent with this. Because if 2 council members could have held up my ordinance, we wouldn't have been able to get it passed. And we're just one small city. The majority of the state has never heard of my city. The majority of my area has never heard of my city, which is why I'm asking the state to do more. And it's not even just for me, but it's for the next generation. It's for the generations who are here right now. I'll turn 25 in a couple of weeks in September. And so when I think about the future, it's always uncertain. It's always, I really cannot tell you what the next few years are going to hold. And I want to start a family. And I know that my generation has been off to a pretty bad start in terms of equity and opportunities that other generations have received, which is why we need to step up our abilities to do what we can do better. And this is why I commend Governor Newsom what he's done. But I know that California can continue leading the way. We don't need new oil permits, because you know why? It's just a matter of time before something goes wrong. We know that if you open up one, we're going to feel the effects through kids who have missed school because of asthma rates, kids who have to go to the emergency rooms. And let's not forget the environmental racism that has continued to plague this state for decades and decades, which is why certain neighborhoods don't have these problems and certain neighborhoods do. So I urge the folks up in Sacramento to keep doing the great work that you're doing, but we can't slow down now. As someone who is a service member and has been to some of these fires, it's kind of crazy knowing that California is always in a state where we have to be worried about this. And we have to always have basically a tentative plan to just be ready for the next fire. And it's not just isolating to some of these neighborhoods like Sonoma or Napa counties. We're seeing these fires pop up more and more. we're seeing seasons that really never change. I remember being a kid, and once upon a time, California had 4 seasons. Now it's just spring, 2 days of rain, and it's warm the rest of the year. This is not normal. This is something that we have to dive on. So I'm excited to see this coalition of elected officials come together and really talk about this, because it's not something that we can continue to ignore or wait or push back on. So thank you again, folks.